If you're tired of learning English with boring exercises, you're in the right place. Because here, you'll learn by feeling the story. This isn't just grammar or vocabulary. It's real-life English in a way that's actually fun. You're going to enjoy the ride. And without even realizing it, your brain will pick up new words and phrases naturally. So go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We share a new story every single day, and each one is full of useful English that sticks. The sun was already warm by the time Jake stepped out of the little guest house. The streets of Athens were still quiet, except for a few old men sipping coffee and some cats stretching in the shade. He had no plans for the day, just a backpack, a bottle of water, and an open mind. This was his last day in the city, and he wanted to do something interesting, something he could tell people about back home. Not just, I saw the Parthenon, or I ate a gyros. He wanted something unexpected, something that felt real. He had read somewhere that getting off the beaten path was the best way to discover the soul of a place. So he turned left instead of right. That small decision would change his entire day. Jake wandered through narrow streets lined with old buildings, their balconies overflowing with plants and laundry. There were no tourists here, no signs in English, just the sound of birds, the smell of fresh bread, and that peaceful feeling that only slow mornings can bring. He didn't know where he was going until he saw it. The statue. It was small, hidden in a quiet corner between two stone walls. Most people would have walked right past it, but something about it caught Jake's eye. The figure was carved from dark marble, weathered by time but still powerful. A man half kneeling, holding a scroll in one hand and pointing with the other toward a narrow alleyway. Jake stopped. There was no plaque, no explanation, but the statue seemed to say something, not with words, but with energy. He felt it. Maybe it was just his imagination, but suddenly, he had to know where the alley led. So he followed the direction of the statue's finger. The alley was so tight, he had to turn sideways at one point. The air smelled like stone and old rain. He could hear a dripping sound somewhere nearby. It was cool and dark compared to the sunny street he had left behind. After a few minutes, the alley opened up into a small hidden courtyard. Jake looked around. There were vines crawling up the walls, colorful tiles on the floor, and a bench that looked like no one had sat on it in years. But there was something else, too, a door. It was wooden and painted blue, with an old iron handle. Jake hesitated. Was it someone's house? A shop? It didn't look like either. The door wasn't locked. He opened it slowly and stepped inside. It was a bookstore, or maybe a library. The light came through stained glass windows and painted the floor in patches of red, green, and gold. The air smelled like dust and ink. Shelves reached up to the ceiling, filled with books in every language Jake could imagine. Some were handwritten. Some looked ancient. He walked in slowly, not wanting to disturb whatever magic was happening in the room. There was no one behind the counter, no bell, no music, just the quiet sound of pages moving in the breeze. Jake didn't touch anything. He just wandered, eyes wide, mouth half open. The place felt like a secret, like it wasn't supposed to exist. And then he saw it, a book with his name on the spine. He froze. It couldn't be. He moved closer. The title was faint, in Greek letters, but underneath them, there was his full name, spelled exactly the way he wrote it. Jake didn't know what to do. He reached out slowly, and pulled the book from the shelf. It was lighter than he expected. He opened the cover. Blank. Every single page was blank. Jake stood there, heart pounding. What did this mean? Was it a mistake? A trick? A coincidence? He didn't know. But the moment he closed the book, he heard a sound behind him. The door had opened again. A breeze flowed in, carrying the scent of lemon trees. Jake turned around. Still no one there. But suddenly, he felt like he shouldn't be in the room anymore. Like he had taken something from a place that didn't belong to the world outside. He left the book on a table near the exit and stepped back outside. The courtyard looked different now. The tiles seemed brighter. The vines had flowers. A cat sat near the doorway, watching him with lazy eyes. The alley felt shorter. When he came out onto the main street again, the statue was gone. Not broken, not moved, just gone. Jake stood in the sun, confused, amazed, and maybe a little nervous. He had no proof of what just happened. No photos, no signs, nothing. But he didn't need any. That moment, that feeling, was his alone. For the rest of the day, he walked around Athens with a strange peace in his chest. The crowds didn't bother him. The heat didn't matter. He didn't follow a map. He didn't need one. Because something about that experience had changed him. He realized that sometimes the city speaks, not with words, but with signs, with statues and shadows, with alleys and closed doors. You just have to be paying attention. Back at the guest house, he wrote everything down in his notebook. Every step, every feeling, every small detail. He didn't care if it sounded crazy. He wanted to remember. And the next day, when he flew to another city, he kept his eyes open, not for monuments or museums, but for anything that felt like a whisper in stone. He knew now that adventures weren't just about where you go. Sometimes they're about what finds you. You just learned English the natural way. While you followed Jake through mysterious alleys and hidden libraries, you picked up useful expressions, advanced sentence forms, and real-life English without any pressure. That's how language learning should feel. Exciting, effortless, and a little magical. We post a new story every single day. So don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button and turn on the bell. And now it's your turn. Have you ever felt like something strange was guiding you? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear your story.